net, Sammy, or
That was huge.
11 metres.
My name is Sam Gilchrist from Coffs Harbour on the north coast of New South Wales, and I actually work with Indigenous communities establishing our business. It's a strong passion of mine, and so is driving fast in this boat and catching a few fish. It's a pretty unique place, Coffs, and particularly, I mean, in a lot of ways, but particularly as a fishing destination, because you've probably got more, fish holding structure than nearly anywhere else on the east coast, bar the Barrier Reef perhaps, but it's a very attractive location. I love it. The only thing we need is big jeets and barrows and we'd be set. Tough conditions out there this morning. Having spoken to a couple of people that had fished the last few days, it sounded like it had been really hard. There'd been a few reds around, but with little or no current and some pretty ordinary water conditions, it was going to be hard, but managed to drag this past one and he ate it. Kings are a funny species to target top water. There's no formula to them. There's no rhyme or reason. It's very difficult to predict their patterns because they just don't seem to have one. They sometimes sit on this particular rock, put a cast at it, telling a few lies to you blokes down the back, and out of the corner, I saw it, but heard that, and it was that really good bite where he's come side on and sucked the lure in. You heard it go, and as soon as you whacked him, it was solid contact, and yeah, that was fun. This is my current pride and joy, the 520 centre console Sea Devil. My second wife, my actual wife, gets a little bit jealous over the Devil sometimes when I refer to her affectionately. This boat's something else, and I remember the first time I rode in one. It was a local dentist, Justin Ward, from Arthur Street Dental, and I rode in his 520 cutty, and it was similar conditions to this, and we headed in a northeasterly direction to the lighthouse, and the way that boat performed, I couldn't believe it. I was like, mate, a fucking boat can't do this. We were doing 20 knots into 20 knots of breeze with a couple of metres of swell, and the thing tracked beautifully in the air. It just did things that I'd never seen a boat do before, and I joke with him still today and go, oh mate, if I hadn't ridden in that boat, it wouldn't have cost me a whack of money, and he has a good laugh about it, but nah, it's a beautiful investment, I reckon. This boat needs to be driven, and needs to be driven hard, and I remember when I first spoke to Mike and John about Devils, and I was wanting to get one. It's one thing Mike said to me. He said, you'll be disappointed in it if you don't drive it hard. And I mean proper drive it hard. And that lit a fire. I was like, yeah, well, come on then, I'll take that on. With one person in this, one or two, and not a lot of weight, it's like one of them drift cars. You can just do anything in it. It goes fast. Its whole shot is amazing. Keeping it in the water is challenging, but it loves being in the air, so let it fly. You can turn as hard as you want, but it's that deep entry point, it's like you're on tracks and it wants to go in a straight line. The harder you push it, the harder it'll go, and it'll let you push it there, and it's just like, in a little race car, a little go-kart, this boat with no rules, no speed limit, no police, no nothing. You just go. And sometimes when you're at a spot and it hasn't worked for whatever reason, and you might get the shits, you just take it out on the ocean with this. You go harder. The 150 Yami pushes it along. It's got plenty of grunt, plenty of bottom end. For these hulls, you need that bottom end torque to get you out, and that way you use that 24-degree dead rise as it should be used to really cut through the ocean. Top speed, I think it's 41.8 knots. That's trimmed right out, and I don't know how much of the boat's in the water, but you're hanging on. With similar shaped hulls, with that really sharp entry point, that savage dead rise, they can be unstable at rest, but the Devils have got this flooding keel system, and I believe it's where the Sea Devil name came from, is the flooding keel system runs the whole length of the boat, and there's 2 breather holes at the front. So when you take off, those breather holes suck air in, the water shoots out the back, you don't even know it's there, it's gone, you're up on the plane and you're away. But as soon as you pull up, it floods again, and when you back the boat off the trailer, water pushes through the flooding keel and squirts out those 2 holes and looks like devil's horns. That's a contentious issue because my wife doesn't know about all the extras, but no, she will now. The electric motor guide is a 36 volt system, probably similar to the outboard. It's probably a little bit more than what you need, but why not? The 9-inch Simrad at the front is linked to the motor guide, which is linked to the 16-inch Simrad at the helm. The motor guide is spectacular for spot locking at sea. I haven't used it too much to, say, line up a drift or create a drift, but I intend to do that. The other features are a 50 litre bait tank at the back, tuna tubes in the back corner. It's not a bad idea, when you're top watering, if you do have a livey, just have him ready, pre-rigged, sitting in the tuna tubes, because often a king will come right up to the boat, sort of strafing behind your lure, and they're never actually going to eat the lure. You flick that livey at him and he's yours. The wave breaker lip you can see at the front there is a custom option. We really designed it with John from Sea Devil to accommodate the sounder at the front, but it evolved into so much more than that. We'd originally considered just that pocket bit to fit the sounder, so when you're up on the cast deck, say casting for barra or cod, and you're looking at your 3D structure scan or what have you, it's right there in front of you, and you can rely on that unit. And all of a sudden we decided to build that lip up a little bit as it's only 2 inches tall, but it saves a hell of a lot of water coming over the front. There's 2 large front hatches at the front. One I've got my safety equipment in, the other one I've got anchor rope and paddles and other stuff. And then there's a significant plumbed well just forward of the console here. It's the width of the boat. The console itself, I've got an essential for every boat, the pie warmer in there. It's a pie and a can on a hot day or a cold day. So the Simrad setup we're running is the 9-inch unit at the front, 16 at the helm. I've got 2 transducers at the back, the TM275 kilowatt, and the all-in-one, all-round transducer, which is really, for the purpose of this boat, is for your 3D structure scan. Got the 3D structure scan module and the S5100 module down in the console. It really covers everything from being out in the shelf chasing yellowfin and even blue eye and ooglies like that. You can you read the bottom well in 800 metres plus. I love the challenge of it a lot. I don't like knowing what anyone else is doing. I don't like seeing other things on social media or whatever. It's probably the space where you don't think about anything else. It's where you're focused on what you want to catch and how you want to catch it. And top watering particularly is extraordinarily challenging physically. The technical side of top watering, like rigging your lures, what one's going to swim in which conditions, what one's going to trigger a bite on a certain day, what trebles and rings come with different weights that'll affect the way your lure swims, getting all that formula right, and then casting like you mean it, and then getting a bite. Even the hook set's savage. You rip their head off. And then when they pull drag, grab the spool and stop him. It's very excellent. I love it.